Governments love telling people they care about financial freedom. They talk about growth, stability, and opportunity. But if you look closely at history, you'll notice something uncomfortable. Governments have often used financial systems in ways that quietly transfer wealth upward while ordinary people carry the burden. Take inflation. When governments spend more money than they collect in taxes, they usually have two options. They can openly raise taxes, which is unpopular, or they can reduce the value of the currency itself. Most choose the second option because it's harder for people to notice. Ancient Rome did exactly this. Roman emperors slowly reduced the silver content in coins to fund military spending. The coins looked the same, but their real value kept falling. Prices rose, savings lost purchasing power, and ordinary citizens suffered. It was essentially a hidden tax. During the Middle Ages, kings used another tactic: forced loans. Wealthy merchants were pressured into lending money to the crown. Refusing could lead to punishment, confiscation, or worse. Sometimes the money was repaid, sometimes not. Either way, the state always protected itself first. By the 17th century, governments had built even more advanced financial systems. When the Bank of England was created in 1694, it helped fund wars through government debt. Wealthy investors earned secure returns by lending money to the state, while ordinary people paid taxes that funded those returns. Modern governments constantly borrow huge amounts of money. Citizens are told it's necessary for economic growth, jobs, or emergencies. Some of it may help the public, but enormous amounts also flow toward large corporations, defense contractors, and financial institutions. And when that happens, governments rarely reduce spending at the top. Instead, they raise taxes, cut public services, or allow inflation to slowly reduce the real value of money and savings. The 2008 financial crisis showed this clearly. Banks took massive risks and nearly collapsed the global economy. Governments stepped in with taxpayer-funded bailouts to save the financial system. Afterward, many of those same institutions became even larger and more powerful. Profits remained private. Losses became public. Even retirement systems often work this way. Workers pay into pension programs believing the money is safely stored for the future. In many cases, governments spend that money immediately and rely on future taxpayers to cover the promises later. The system works until demographics change and there are fewer workers supporting more retirees. Then politicians begin talking about reform, which usually means raising retirement ages, reducing benefits, or allowing inflation to weaken payouts over time. Inflation becomes economic growth. Debt becomes investment. Bailouts become stability. Cuts become reform. Modern financial systems are also incredibly complex. Tax laws, government budgets, and financial instruments are so complicated that most people can't realistically follow how wealth moves through the system. Complexity itself becomes a form of protection for those already in power, because when people don't understand the system, they struggle to challenge it. That's why economic history matters. Once you start noticing these patterns, you see how often they repeat. Ancient Rome, medieval kingdoms, and modern governments all use different tools, but the underlying idea remains similar: protect the system first. So what's the lesson? Always look beyond official explanations. Ask who benefits first, from inflation, bailouts, stimulus programs, or new regulations. Try to build assets that hold value over time, and never assume a financial system exists mainly to protect ordinary people. History may not repeat itself exactly, but the same financial patterns appear again and again. The people who understand them are far less likely to be trapped by them.